Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the principal's office. This is Principal Brown coming to you with another cultural message. So, last time I spoke with you guys, we talked about culture and the different aspects of it. So, I want to kind of share with you a program that I started in my county, and I will tell you that I did get some of the pieces from Ron Clark, and many people know it as the house system, but I prefer to call it the Casa system. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of information of why I call it Casa. And if you speak Spanish, yes, Casa and house means the same thing. But I'm going to give you a little history. So in my county, the school that I worked at was one of the largest high transient schools in the second high transient school in the county, along with very large schools. So we had about, well, at the time when we started this program, we had about 1,200 kids in the school. And so, unlike some schools, it's all kids that's from the area. So there was a walking school, and so all of the kids were from the area. I'm going to stress that because because I've taken some pieces from Ron Clark. Which is a different type of school. We are a true public school with with tons of kids. That actually second highest transit school that kids go in and out. So we had to create a program that was going to support a few things. And so when we created our as some people like to refer to it, the house system, and I and my staff refer to it as the CASA system. When we created the CASA program, we created a program that that dealt with four pillars and four main pillars that we needed as a school. And so those four pillars was that we wanted our kids to have great character. Uh, it was important that they brought their best. And each of these that I'm sharing with you, we had to define them as a school. I just want you to know that because everybody's character definition is not the same, or expectation is not the same. So as a school, we pulled staff together, kids together, and we had to say, well, what does that mean? So with everything, just always ask, what does that mean, and what does it look like? Because character for some people looks a little bit different, you know, their expectation of character could be different as well. So C was for character, and that actually went along the lines with some issues that we were having in the school, to be blunt about it. So we had to define character. Then we went into well, if they don't come to school, that's a big issue. So attendance was the second pillar that we focused on. And then our school started to receive things back, and then we wanted our kids to know that it wasn't just about the school community, it was about the community that they lived in. So the third pillar was service. So things that were coming into us and being grateful, and people that was working with us to try to transform the school, we wanted to push that back out into the community, beyond the school walls. So service was the third pillar. And then the last pillar was, why are we doing this? What's the whole purpose, right? Well, it was the academics, the academic component. So we should be able to get to the meat and potatoes of why we go to this building every day. So the four pillars was C for character, A for attendance, S was for service, and A for academics. And unfortunately, fortunately for us, it does spell casa, which means house. So i- the program, everything that we built around the school and the school's culture was embedded into this program, because you can't just have a program without the belief system that everyone believes in it. Everyone had to be a part of it. Uh, to give you some, I mean, I can give years of details, but the gist of it was that the kids had to buy into it in order to believe it. The staff had to buy into it, but we also used it as a way to connect with parents, the community. So the school itself was broken up into five different houses. Each of the houses, one was respect, one was perseverance, one was determination, one was loyalty, and why am I forgetting the other one? I don't know why. Respect, loyalty, perseverance. I think I said them all. I don't know. Don't kill me if I didn't. This is true me. But there was 5 houses, and within those 5 houses, we assigned colors to the houses, so we had different colors, and then we came up with what those things are. When we came up with the names, it was truly connected to, oh, loyalty was the other one. That when we came up with the names, it was connected to the some characteristics, right? We wanted kids to be loyal to themselves, to their community, but in a positive way. They had to have respect for themselves. They had to have respect for their community, their teachers, their peers. We wanted them to be determined because a lot of them was going through, challenges that even some adults can't handle. But we wanted them to be determined to be a better person, to focus on their academics, to focus on doing great things in their community. It takes a lot of perseverance, and so we wanted the kids to persevere, depending, on whatever their personal individual situations were. And as a school, we needed that. And then I said loyalty, perseverance. Woo. This is funny that I can't remember. Okay, so sometimes the principal has to go into the principal's notes themselves. Let's see. So I know that I said loyalty. I know I said respect, determination, perseverance. Oh, courage. They had to have courage because courage was associated with the fact that sometimes you have to have the courage to stand up for yourself and for others. And it depends on what the situation is, but we had some kids that had some really tough situations, and they had to have courage to either stand up. They had to have courage to stand up for things that they really believed in, or that they knew that was wrong. And so each of those words formulated a bond amongst the school, but amongst the community. And so the different colors that were associated with them also spoke volumes. Loyalty was black, respect was yellow, determination was green, perseverance was red, and courage was blue. They all had an association, and they all had a mascot. And so what we did was we gave that information to the kids, and the kids came up within their prospective houses. And when I say houses, each of those colors and characteristics was a house, and they had anywhere between depends on the year and how many kids we had, but it could be anywhere between 200 and 180 kids, kindergarten all the way up to 5th grade. And then every staff member, from the lunchroom staff, the custodians, the teachers, resource people, resource officer, they all were assigned a house. We had house shirts. We had house meetings. Those meetings were, it morphed into, those meetings were ran and run by a student president that was elected. And the student president was a 5th grader who was elected by their peers into a position. They had a vice president, and the vice president could be a third, fourth, or 5th grader that was elected into the position. So we actually had systems and things that was built to support student leadership, teacher leadership. The students had meetings with me where, the cabinet. They had a cabinet. The presidents had a cabinet, and the whole president cabinet, along with the individual houses, would meet with me to talk about school issues, concerns, celebrations, data. They had to earn and own their own data and talk to us about some changes of things that need to happen. And I'll give you one example of how well we created this program to support the school. One day the kid said, well, the presidents came to my office and said, Miss Brown, I need to talk to you. And I'm like, okay, what do we need to talk about? And they said, well, we want to talk to you about the cafeteria. We have an issue. Now, everybody knows that I don't care if you have the best of the best school or the worst of the worst school, however you want to label it. The cafeteria is always a hot spot, right? And it doesn't matter. So, okay. I said, okay, well, schedule some time with me. Okay. So they went to my secretary, they scheduled time. They came back in the next day, and I said, well, what's going on, guys? They said, well, we have an issue with the trash in the cafeteria. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I know that the custodians are in there. And they're like, what's going on? They said, well, we're noticing that a lot more food is on the floor. I said, okay. And we noticed, that we noticed that the custodians, because I was like, "Was the custodians not clean up?" They are, and I said, "Okay, so what's the big issue?" And they was like, well, sometimes, there's food on the floor. And I said, okay, let's think about this. Let's go to the drawing board. Let's problem solve. They said, okay, okay, okay. What are we gonna do? What, you're gonna hire more custodians? We have a budget. We're not hiring more custodians. What, we're gonna make the teachers clean it up? No, the teachers have to teach. I said, well, let's get down to the meat and potatoes. Who eats in the cafeteria? And they was like, oh, kindergarten, first grade. So they going on and on. Right. Any teachers? Well, no, the teachers eating the teachers now. Well, sometimes the teachers will stand around and talk and eat and, to be in there with us. And they would give me all the examples. I said, but okay, but for the majority, who eats in there? They said, well, we do. Okay. So who's putting the food on the floor? Hmm. We are. Hmm. So the problem is you're dropping food and you're not picking it up and putting it in the trash. Oh, I guess so. Okay, so problem solved. The big part of the problem, right? So we know who's doing it. Now, what are we going to do about it? Oh, well, we need to have table monitors, make sure. Okay, so then they start going into thinking mode. A lot of times, as educators and leaders, we want to go on, we want to solve the problem. And we go, because that's what we do, right? We grab our walkie, we grab our keys, we go solve the problem. No, not in this case. I turned the problem back on the kids and then said, there is an issue. I hear you. I understand what the issue is, but how are we going to fix it? And that's pretty much what I charged the presidents of the Casa program to do. All five presidents would get together. They'll have their own little retreats. As years went on, we grew our student council and the Casa program to where we started to have summer sessions where they were going in through semi-professional development because they needed to know about the school just as much as I needed to know about the school. And they did amazing things. A lot of the kids actually did a lot of TV interviews because we started to be known for what we were doing because it changed the culture of the school. When you look at the school over the years on paper, you're like, oh my God, that place is a hot mess. When people would come in, they were like, oh my gosh, they're so friendly. The kids are friendly. The staff are friendly. Everybody's happy. Nobody wants to leave. Hence why I had a 99% retention rate, right? Because people enjoyed being there, but it was all of us. And the CASA program gave us a bond of goals. We tied in the mission and the vision of the school. The kids helped us create the tagline, the mission and the vision. They helped us create that. So we had to live it, we had to breathe it. Um, to a point where I started to get other people to ask, like, okay, well, you did this program, you kind of got it from Ron Clark, and yeah, the school we did go to Ron Clark Academy in Atlanta, and we did see. But I will say, even speaking to Ron Clark, and at the time, Hope and Wade King was working there, and we talked about it, and actually had them come out to our school to do some trainings. They even said, "You have actually made this your own. This school has morphed into creating this program, but it made the program into what you guys needed it to be." And that's educators, yes, we take a little from here, we take a little from there. That's what makes us educators, right? To make what we need. But a lot of times some people want to take the whole thing and plop it into a school, or they want to give you a whole bunch of dollars and plop it into a school, and they think that that's what works. No, you got to take things, you got to dissect it, you got to really know what you need to make it work for you. You got to know what the kids need, because that's who you're working for. I understand the politicians and the political connections of education. I got it. But at the end of the day, especially if you're in elementary, you're working for the kids. So you really have to be grounded to what it is that they need to be successful, and how are you going to get it there. Especially in a day where kids have social media, you're competing against that, as so you want to kind of keep them interested, and you want to give them moments to speak and talk. And so I will say that over the years, my fifth graders, they've done a lot of trips. They went to a lot of uh, meetings with me, without me. I will say that I've had people, CEOs from companies and healthcare companies, and just people who interact with the kids, and said, when I first went into your school, I really thought that this was a charter school. I thought that it was a private school. I did not realize that it was a regular public school. But not only that, I did not know the history of the area. I did not know the history of the school, because your kids are so well behaved and they speak well. And so the program helped me highlight the staff and the kids, but it also helped us market who we were as a school. It helped us market who we were as a staff, because along with the program, I couldn't run it on my own. Yes, I can get everything from the kids, but I also had to have the teachers' belief in system and support. And the teachers were definitely into it. Hopefully, I'll be able to throw a couple of pictures up, and so you can see some of the things. But if this is something that you think you're thinking about doing over maybe this year, coming school year, or next year, you definitely can reach out to me. But it does work, but you just have to have a reason of why and what it looks like, and create systems. And I'll tell you, the schools that I have worked with within my county, those principals or the staff members that have reached out, they've taken some things, and I always stress to them, don't fast forward to, at the end of the digital ways of how I did things. I started on a regular board with a clipboard with some points and systems and different things. Make it your own. But in this county, we were very the first to for me to create the system, and I can tell you, over the years it grew, but it was something that I'm glad that I was forced to create, by the past principal. But it was also a journey and a joy to see it grow and blossom to what it is right now, because right now that school, my old school, still uses it, but I see that many of the other schools within my county are still trying to pick up pieces and create house systems. And the only thing I can say to anyone in or out of this county, when you're picking up something and you see someone else doing it, make sure you understand. Again, I'm going to stress that, why you want to do it, not for the marketing, not for the t-shirts, not for the colors. Yes, that's a piece of it, but if you really want it to be successful, connect it to something that's greater than the colors and the flashy pieces that we also had. But it was deeper than that, and people didn't understand that. So that is my tip for you today. I will come back with another video, but I wanted you to really understand what we call the Casa program, aka house system for many. As I used to say, 5 houses, 1 heartbeat, because that is the hashtag that I use often. Because there was 5 different houses in my building, but we all had 1 heartbeat. So, bye guys. Stay tuned. Like, subscribe, share.